but it's with someone who may not even be able to communicate or understand me. With a room full of people looking for me to fail, couldn't my first test be something a bit less challenging? I proceeded and began to engage in a broken conversation with Mikhail, quickly learning that he came from the northern reaches of Finland. His hand was cold when I shook it, and I joked with him that this hospital room probably felt familiar since he had experience growing up in a cold climate. He smiled slightly, and then I noticed that his hiccups briefly halted as I alluded to the coolness. I wondered if there was a connection, so I decided to develop this interaction a little bit further. I began to talk much more in depth about coolness, bringing in my hypnotic skills and slowing my voice somewhat. His hiccups became less and less frequent. I thought that if I could help him experience another physical sensation in his body, like coolness, this new sensation could compete and block the hiccup reflex. Emboldened, I continued to talk to him about snow and how sometimes we get so cold that it's hard to feel anything else. Even our chest gets cold, so cold, in fact, that we just want to stop, to rest, and do nothing else. Within 10 minutes of having this type of conversation, Mikhail's hiccups had vanished. They never returned, and when I left the room, everyone, including me, was stunned that a chronic condition scheduled for brain surgery was resolved in just 10 minutes of talking. The year was 1983, just as mind-body medicine was beginning to gain recognition, slowly and sporadically throughout the traditional medical community. It sometimes takes a dramatic event like this to change dated assumptions about biology and open oneself up to a new perspective on how we function and how the body can, with the help of simple mind-body techniques, snap itself out of a cycle that perpetuates disease or dysfunction. Although I tapped my hypnosis skills to create an enduring shift in this particular patient, the principles behind the change had application in a much broader way. My work with Mikhail made it very evident to me how the body becomes imprisoned within a groove and cannot break free from its grasp. It becomes habituated to repeatedly react a certain way, like a broken record. By teaching the body to experience new sensations, it can forge new and more productive neural networks so that it may find a path to wellness. Although we didn't have the technology then, we know now from current research that these new experiences create new roadmaps in the brain. It's like changing a recipe. With the altering of an ingredient, a different result emerges. Although I used hypnosis to elicit the change in Mikhail, in the 30 years since, I have learned there are simpler and more practical means of accomplishing the same goal. The secret, of course, is determining the best method to encourage the brain and body to accept and embrace new knowledge. Eradicating Mikhail's hiccups at this state-of-the-art hospital marked a turning point in my career. No longer would I, or any of my psychologist colleagues, be discouraged from entering the medical unit with our non-traditional methods of treatment. I began performing mind-body techniques on patients and was able to go as far as to conduct hypnosis throughout the hospital. In fact, soon thereafter, I founded and became the director of the hospital's psychoimmune program, one of the first of its kind in the country, and started educating residents and fellows from all areas of medicine about the psychodynamics of sickness, or how the mind influences health. So what was it that led to Mikhail's endless loops of hiccups? Many persistent symptoms, in fact, can start innocently enough but go on relentlessly. A cold that leads to a lingering cough, a stomach bug that